The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Ambassador Chen Wei stood before the assembled representatives of 247 civilizations. The holographic vote counter displayed the final tally. 246 votes in favor of Earth's exile, 1 abstention from the Kepler Union, and 0 against. "The motion passes," announced High Chancellor Vexthor, his crystalline form refracting the chamber's ambient light into dancing rainbows. "Humanity is hereby expelled from the galactic community. All trade agreements are nullified. All diplomatic channels are closed. Earth and its colonies are to have no further contact with Council space." Ambassador Chen stood motionless, her expression unreadable. The delegates expected outrage, perhaps tears, maybe even threats. Instead, she smiled, a small knowing curve of her lips that somehow made several delegates uncomfortable. "May I address the Council one final time?" she asked. Vexthor hesitated, then nodded. "You have 5 minutes." "Thank you, High Chancellor." Chen clasped her hands behind her back and walked slowly along the semicircular gallery, meeting the eyes of as many delegates as she could. "For 3 centuries, humanity has contributed to this council. We've shared our medical advances, our agricultural techniques, our music and art. We've fought beside you in the Outer Rim Wars. We've died protecting council worlds from the Void Swarm. And you've violated 47 protocols," interrupted Ambassador Krill of the Zephon Accord, his tentacles writhing with agitation. "Your species refuses to accept population controls. You expand too quickly. You adapt too readily. You're dangerous." "Dangerous," Chen repeated softly. "Yes, I suppose we are, but not in the way you think." She turned to face Vexthor directly. "You're exiling us because you're afraid. Not of our weapons or our fleets. You're afraid of our potential. You're afraid that in another century, maybe 2, we'll surpass you. All of you." The chamber erupted in protests and denials. Chen waited patiently for the noise to subside. "We accept your decision," she continued. "Humanity will withdraw from Council space. We'll take our ships, our technology, our people, and we'll leave. But understand this, we don't need you. We never did. We stayed because we believed in the dream of galactic unity. We believed in cooperation. We thought we could learn from civilizations older than ours." She paused, letting the weight of her words settle over the chamber. "We were wrong, not about having things to learn, but about your willingness to teach equals rather than subjects. You don't want partners. You want a hierarchy where everyone knows their place. And you couldn't bear that humans refused to accept ours." Ambassador Teles of the Wisdom Caste, one of the oldest races in the Council, spoke in her whispering voice. "You speak of equality, but your kind breeds like bacteria. You've colonized 73 worlds in 3 centuries. The Zephon took 2,000 years to settle 20 planets. Can you not see why this concerns us?" "I see it perfectly," Chen replied. "You had time to develop slowly, carefully. You had the luxury of stability. Humanity doesn't have that luxury. We're young, yes. Impetuous, certainly. But we're also adaptive. It's not a flaw, Ambassador Teles. It's what kept us alive on a death world you classified as uninhabitable before we evolved there." She pulled out a data crystal and placed it on the hovering presentation platform. Images materialized in the air, Earth's surface scarred by ice ages and asteroid impacts, ravaged by supervolcanoes and solar storms, yet teeming with life. "This is what forged us," Chen said. "Not the sterile paradise of Teles Prime, not the stable binary system of Zephon. Earth tried to kill us 1,000 different ways, and we survived them all. We didn't just survive, we thrived. And now you're surprised that we can't simply stop being what we are?" The High Chancellor raised one crystalline appendage. "Ambassador Chen, your time—" "I know," she interrupted gently. "I'm almost finished." She turned to address the entire assembly. "You're making a mistake, but it's yours to make. Humanity will honor your decision. We'll be gone within the year. But let me leave you with this thought. The galaxy is vast and largely unexplored. The Council controls barely 3% of it. You've been content with that for millennia. But humanity? We're just getting started." Chen picked up her data crystal and walked toward the exit. As the massive doors began to open, she paused and looked back over her shoulder. "One more thing," she said. "When we left Earth to explore space, we found you already here, already established, and we joined your council. We played by your rules. But beyond council space, in the vast dark between the stars, there are no rules. And when humanity emerges from exile, and we will emerge, We won't be asking permission anymore." The doors closed behind her with a resonant boom. In the stunned silence that followed, it was young Ambassador Kixra of the Kepler Union who spoke, his voice uncertain. "High Chancellor, perhaps we should reconsider." "The vote is final," Vexthor declared, but his voice lacked its usual confidence. True to her word, humanity withdrew. One by one, human settlements in Council space were abandoned. The massive colony ships, built with Earth's inexhaustible industrial capacity, carried billions away from the galactic core. They headed spinward, toward the unexplored arms of the galaxy where no Council ship had ever ventured. For 50 years there was silence. No human transmissions reached Council space. No ships returned. It was as if humanity had vanished into the cosmic void. Then the reports began to trickle in. Independent traders spoke of massive structures being built in the Sagittarius Arm. Exploration vessels found human settlements on worlds the Council had deemed impossible to terraform. Most disturbing of all, a science expedition discovered a thriving human megacity on a planet orbiting a magnetar, a star that should have sterilized all life with radiation. Ambassador Teles, now elevated to High Chancellor, convened an emergency session. "We need intelligence on what humanity is doing out there." But the scouts sent to investigate never returned. Not because they were attacked. There was no evidence of hostility. They simply chose not to come back, seduced by the opportunities they found in human space. Because while the Council had exiled humanity, they'd forgotten one crucial fact. Humans had never learned to stay exiled. They were doing what they'd always done, adapting, growing, thriving in places no one else could. And this time they were doing it without asking permission. The Council had wanted to contain humanity. Instead, they'd unleashed them. And in the depths of space on 1,000 worlds where no Council member would dare to settle, humanity smiled and kept building.